Well, guys, welcome back over to the Sidelines Production Podcast. We've got some news. Of course, LeBron James have recently returned, announced over on ESPN for his 21st regular season here in the NBA, knowing after an embarrassing 4-0 sweep against the Denver Nuggets in the Western Conference Final, after coming back having probably the wildest comeback of a regular season. We even have an in-season regular season tournament that at least has a buy-in portion, a payment around 500,000 for every player. You'll even make over the quarterfinals. You'll make a sum up around 100,000. I think if you make it over to the first round, and it'll be put over in a square of 3 blocks in each individual conference. So you got to win respective games around the tournament, and it's going to be the finals of the tournament, and the elimination series is going to be in Las Vegas around December. So I guess they want to give some incentive to make sure players actually get some game time in, so load management doesn't become profound because the NBA already has a lack of I guess types of aggression and incentive to actually get guys to play an 82 game season without a concave of injuries. And even if you push that over to 52, injuries do happen. We had a spur of injuries around even increasing the games over in 17 regular season games around the NFL season. So it's obvious just a lack of incentive because of inflation. Like, all I have to do is secure the bag and then I don't have to do this shit anymore. That's the majority of NBA players now. Just get that over your head. I don't think changing the regular season is going to really incentivize anything. I feel like there should be penalizations. If you're not injured, you should be capable of playing, or else there will be a dock overpayment, or at least some type of benefactors overplaying majority of the regular season. Now it's a total over 65 games that certain players got to win to even compensate for rewards, and I feel like that's a good thing for most players, because I swear some of these players get robbed over making top 10 or at least all NBA squads, or not making MVP candidacy, and they be playing over 71 games, but they average like 25.5 points per game, but the guy was averaging a quintuple double, and he only played like 40 games this season, and that was around the second half of the year. I feel like that's unfair. So they're really making sure, like, you gotta work for what you earn to get over the season. Sure, I feel like the regular season is still going to be pretty bare minimum of entertaining. I guess to get the bottom feeding team something to play for, even though I feel like the Larry O'Brien, like, we're all fighting for the regular season to get something, but over, the mentality of tanking for the play-in tournament, trying to extensify the parity with the NBA, and yet still compensating with records, compensating to still get the picks. Nobody wants a losing mentality over in a franchise, and just a bare minimum of name value players and a bunch of individual teams could be, and lack of competitiveness in most regular season games could be the reason over the lack of viewership. Like, you want to see Kawhi Leonard and Paul George face off against Kevin Durant and Bradley Beal and Devin Booker, and yet Kawhi Leonard is sitting out, even though he's been off the IR for the past 2 weeks, and yet he misses the next 12 games. But we gotta make it there when they're playoff contenders. Like, nobody wants to see that. No one's paying, especially over the inflated price. So if especially around Bayer, you go to Madison Square Garden, you're paying at least 7-row tickets, and that's gonna cost you around $2.50. And I don't mean $2.50. So I'm not minding the NBA's rule changes. I don't know if this is really going to benefit majority of the viewership around the regular season, but out of majority of the least viewed games around the sport, it's still football, the American one and the European one. Some college football games, of course, college football playoffs. I guess if you want to see the Orange Bowl, the championship game, or at least one of the major rivalry games that college football actually excels at. I feel like over school prestige and history, they literally make college sports got to be the most important, especially in college football. Literally the most watched rivalry games out of American sports. Of course, the World Cup that was recent, we're gonna have, as well as our men's basketball, our nation's basketball team playing in just a couple weeks. So we already got that announced. I think we got Jalen Brunson competing to represent the New York Knicks for the American team, so that's a positive. I don't think Donovan Mitchell's in there like last year. I think he's he's advertising the NBA. Yeah, he's advertising the new 2K game now. But to showcase, it's gonna be, I think we're gonna be in Spain. Slovenia faces off against the United States, and then Spain, and then Greece to Germany 2 other times around August 20th. So the first game will be airing around August 12th. And our team is Rookie of 2023 Rookie of the Year, Paulo Banchero. Starting guard for the Brooklyn Nets, Mikal Bridges. Starting guard for the New York Knicks, Jalen Brunson. Anthony Edwards from the Minnesota Timberwolves. Tyrese Halliburton from the Indiana Pacers. Josh Hart from the New York Knicks. Brandon Ingram from the New Orleans Pelicans. Jaren Jackson Jr., Defensive Player of the Year. From the Grizzlies. We also have Cam Johnson, another net. Then Walker Kessler from the Utah Jazz. Bobby Portis from the Milwaukee Bucks that got re-signed. And Austin Reeves had an amazing showcase for the Los Angeles Lakers. And I think over a handful of guys, I think we only got like 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't think Bobby Portis in any way, shape, or form was a All-Star. So I think we only have in technicality around like 4 All-Stars, 1 Defensive Player of the Year. Still have all-around talent, don't get me wrong. And the younger guys come up, the more all-around skill that they have, but we're just relying over on raw talent. The only experienced guys on the team is Brunson, Ingram, Portis, and technically Jaren Jackson Jr. Like, I want to give some semblance of optimism. They still represent us. And Banchero just, I guess it could be a nice showcase for him over winning Rookie of the Year. And somebody just asked, where's Jokic, Embiid, and Doncic when they're overseas athletes? That makes no sense, whoever put that in. And it's like, my YMCA team is better than that. Yeah, most of these guys average 20 or over 21 over in the regular season. We got a Defensive Player of the Year. We still have good all-around all-star talent, but just not well. We know this team ain't doing shit to the 2020 U.S. national team. Hell, not even the 2016. We still had an all-time scorer, like several all-stars on that team. If they can't even touch the 2012 U.S. national team. But good luck to them, and hopefully they can get us a gold medal. That's all I'm going to say. I'll be trying to view those games. And I heard the women's national soccer team are nearing a three-peat over winning 2 straight World Cups for the country, so good luck. And that's practically it over in the basketball side of things involving international sports. Let's go around the off season. What's going on there? We know that there was another trade that happened with Patty Mills again, and this was after Rudy Gay was just given a future second round pick as well for John Collins, and now T.T. Washington, that was just given away from the Houston Rockets, as well as Usman Gabara and Rudy Gay go over to the Oklahoma City Thunder for Patty Mills to possibly give in the secondary option to help the depth for the Hawks three-point shooting. So this is already the third team Patty Mills got traded in. Yikes. Hayward Highsmith got guaranteed $1.4 million salary, as well as Paul Reed signed back with the Philadelphia 76ers, matching the bid with the Utah Jazz to keep him. That's guaranteed until 2024 to 2025. And a non-guaranteed over the 2025-2026 season. So Paul Reed, an extensive help over on the defensive side of the ball for the Philadelphia 76ers. A bit of a bidding war with the Utah Jazz to get some build up over at the 5 position. I mean, they know they're trying to look for that 5 after losing Rudy Gobert. And Paul Reed could be a starting caliber player over in a rebuilding franchise like the Utah Jazz. So you could understand why. By the way, Dion Waiters is signed. I'm joking, he's not signed. I think he still has somewhat of his contract to go, even though he hasn't played for the Lakers since 2020 from March 6th. And that was when they won the championship that year. So I don't know really what's much of the news with Dion Waiters. Knowing him, possibly something legal. Some legal affairs. It was my attitude, my characters. I guess, Dion Waiters goes over his 10-game splitting on the Lakers, so I guess he's regretting some of his behavioral issues, and he always had that thing. He had a good ball control, he had a good shot selection, and he just had that immaturity factor that made him so problematic for majority of his time, like how he was in OKC. Majority of his career over in Miami, or especially his time when he even got re-signed over with the Lakers when they just needed some has-beens for roster filling spots, just like they did with J.R. Smith. And I think J.R. Smith did more to contribute. And I swear to most of the fans, most of the casual fans, I thought J.R. Smith was going to be most of the problem, either Dion Waiters, and that is just surely not the case. But yeah, that's my opinion on the matter. Other than that, we're going to close off shop here. Thanks for watching the DST show. Sidelines Productions. I'm going to take my Tylenol. Honestly, I do. It did hurt my shoulder recently. But, yeah, that's it for me.